discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Shut up, just shut up, shut up, 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 shut up, just shut up.
Dorothea.
This just in.
What were you reading? Were there important text messages about this show?
I was actually reading a tweet from my friend Linda Thompson, but I think it's an old. Is Twitter having weird screw-ups today, too?
I don't know. I've been having problems with my phone. I haven't gotten a bunch of text messages. You say you missed one. Things are weird, but you believe in that whole Mercury retrograde, which is what John believes in.
I do not believe in that crap. But should I
Yes, you do. You talk to psychics and dead people.
Oh, I believe in psychics. But I don't believe in the retrograde. Should I believe in that, John, our engineer?
Yeah.
Really?
Put your microphone on there, John. Is my microphone low or is it just my headphones?
No, it sounds pretty loud.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie Stewart, visiting.
We have a hunky visitor. I'm putting my makeup on, not for hunky visitor, for her, because she gets really annoyed when I don't have my eye makeup on. So, John, what is the deal with retrograde? That's why everything is screwing up?
Well, yeah, retrograde affects technical things. So communication along with technology. So it's going to be over on the 11th, and but there's always a shadow period after that. So by next month, definitely things will be clarified.
God, he's deeper than I knew.
Well, he's really deep. He actually posted something on Facebook the other day. He says, is your computer acting kind of weird? Do you have a lot of viruses and malware? And I have been having some computer problems. John says it's because of Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
So I was going to bring in my computer to have John clean it up. No matter what the reason, just clean it.
Well, the business booms right around that time, actually. So that's why I always post about it, because usually people have requests for
so you're making money off
the
retrograde.
Sometimes.
Fine.
Sometimes.
Okay. Should we do our usual BS, which we are now doing? Or
we have lots of BS.
Are we talking to Kim?
Has Kim called in yet?
She is. She's on hold.
Oh, my gosh. Well, let's get straight to that, because we can BS all day long.
Yes, we can. And Kim is at Kim Goldman is, and this is not why she's our guest today, but I believe she's supervising a pool party with like 6 million children.
Always important.
I am.
So are you like in a little quiet closet somewhere? Because it's fairly quiet.
I am now in my car. It was a nice escape. It is hot out here. But yes, there are about almost 100 kids that we are having for my son's 6th grade graduation party. It's so weird.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. That is so cute.
Oh, I cried that day. And I am just going to guess, since you're in the car, that there are other chaperones.
Yes, I've left them. I have left everybody in good hands. I'm just sitting in the parking lot. It's much cooler in my car, so all good.
Well, it's very kind of you to be with us today. For those of you who don't know, Kim Goldman is an activist for victims' rights, criminal victim rights.
An author, a kick-ass mom, as she describes herself.
A blogger, also has a podcast. But really, Kim was thrust into the limelight 21 years ago when her brother, Ron Goldman, was murdered along with Nicole Brown Simpson. And so
21 years ago, Kim, my God.
21 years ago on Friday. It's in days from now. 21 years.
Does 21 years, does that mean anything, or is it just marking time?
Marking time. I mean, a lot of people say that, things get easier with time. I've always maintained that it just gets more permanent. I think about my kid who's graduating tomorrow. My brother never met my son, and, like those kinds of moments, they're big milestones, and it doesn't mean I can't appreciate the amazing things that happen in my life, but it's like having a great big ice cream sundae without the cherry on top. There's like always a twinge of sorrow and sadness and bittersweet, and it's almost half my life I've lived without my brother, and that is crazy to think that.
I just posed a question on Twitter today, does time really heal? And everyone seemed to say no. So no. It doesn't. It just makes it more permanent, you're saying.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, and I also, we also, because our case has been so high profile, it
You
gets
think?
reminders and people, but sometimes it's great to have people share their love. And I saw a tweet from a man that said that he went to visit my brother at the gravesite, and I love that. I love the legacy that is left behind. I love the collective hug that we get. Not a lot of people get that when they suffer a loss. So for that, I'm grateful, but I also, it's hard. It's just hard.
Kim, I was doing a little bit of updating research last night, and I saw a quote of yours. You said, "You are not the same girl who was crying in that courtroom for 9 months."
Yeah, I think, listen, I was in my early 20s. I've come a long way since then. I'm always changing and evolving and always wanting to do better by myself in my life. But I'm not as naive as I was back then. I think that I've become in some ways a little bit more jaded, and I think it's almost okay. I think I'm a little more realistic in my life. I'm a heck of a lot stronger than I was. I've come to really embrace this role that my family and I have taken on over the last 20-something years. So I'm more in control of my life. I feel like the choices I'm making now are mine, as opposed to being the result of things that have happened. And that's been probably the most empowering thing since everything has happened.
Kim, you can't see this because you're sitting in your car. I'm just going to make fun of Anna for a second. Anna has every quote you ever said written down on this. Everything you ever said written down on this piece of paper.
Sorry, I did my homework. I can't help myself, Kim. I wanted to know what you'd been doing in the last few years.
I did my homework too. I put my makeup
Anna's
on.
Great memory lane. I have such a horrible memory that you could say anything to me, and I'm like, oh, I said that. Look at me, how smart I was. Yeah.
But I think the thing that I respect the most is that you were given, and given in the worst circumstances possible, but you were given a platform, and you chose to do good with it. I mean, you have survived and you have thrived.
Yeah, I think I've been really fortunate, to be able to have met so many incredible people over the years that don't necessarily have the platform and the attention that our family has been given. And so I sort of feel like it's my responsibility. And, I used to feel like it was a burden, and now I feel like it's a gift and it's an honor to be able to speak on behalf of people that don't and can't. And I used to really be uncomfortable with media and be, put in the limelight in that regard, but I've figured out a way to use it for good. And it's still hard because you're still dealing with loss and trauma and crisis and tragedy and people's feelings and their ways, and you just want so badly to be heard and to be listened to, that I feel very grateful for the chance to be able to do that for people that just don't have that afforded to them.
When you think about your brother now, what do you think about?
God, I think about the fact that he would have been married, and I would have had nieces and nephews and a sister-in-law, and I think that I would have been able to grow old with my best friend the way we planned on. The older I get and the older my dad gets, it makes me really nervous because my dad's in his late 70s, and it scares me that I'm going to be by myself, eventually. I mean, I have my son, of course, but I miss that. I miss that camaraderie and that one person in my life that knew everything about me and still loved me anyway,
And how is your dad?
He's such a warrior.
My dad, I just could not be more proud and honored that we are in each other's lives. I mean, my dad's amazing, and I'm so very lucky that I've been able to share him. But he's just a good egg. My dad is kind and loving, and even though people see him screaming on TV, he's the biggest mushpot, and he would give his shirt off his back for anybody. And I love that my dad just family first, and there's just nobody better in my life than him. And, but he's getting up there, and I feel sad that his life has been riddled with so much grief, but, he chugs on every day.
I don't remember your dad as the screamer. I know everyone chooses how they remember people, but I
know. I said warrior. That's how I think of him.
Your
just
dad,
passionate,
a loving father, your relationship with your father during the trial and then during the other trial. I think sent a message to, well, I can only speak for myself, both as a reporter and just as a person. I always admired how close and loving your relationship appeared, and that to me said everything about your brother.
Yeah.
I thought the two of you constantly shared with the world, in a way, telepathically, if you will, about your brother because of
Just of who you were.
Just in who you were, exactly.
Yeah. You know, my dad raised my brother and I. We were, 70s babies, and my dad gained sole custody of my brother and I. And, it was just three of us growing up. And so we just invariably had this incredible bond. And I always asked my dad, how did you do that? How did you, because I, of course, want to have that with my own son. And my dad said, I don't know. I just was. And, we were like little musketeers, three peas in a pod. And I often will say about my brother that I wish that he would have been more selfish the night that he died, because I think he would have saved life, but that would not have been him.
Right. He was just doing a kindness, right? He was just doing a favor.
And that's exactly right. And I, of course, because I'm now without my brother, I wish that he would have run. I wish that he would have seen something horrible and run the other way, but that's not how my dad raised us. And, again, that's one of those bittersweet moments, but I felt very lucky to have the life I did with my brother and my dad. And, to be raised with two men as a young girl, hard, but it definitely toughened me up for sure.
And what do you do, with the anniversary a few days away of the murder? What do you do on that day? Is there something that you and your dad do? Anything that you can share with us? Like, I don't know, what is it like when you wake up on that day every day? Every year, I should say.
I shut down. I remember I dated a guy a couple years ago who told me you could choose to be happy on that day and you could choose to not be a victim and blah, 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 blah. And
I don't think you can choose to not be a victim in that situation.
Well, my feeling is, for 364 days a year, I'm totally in charge and I keep it together and I pull my boots up and every morning I get up and I go be a great person. One day I'm going to get my permission to just fall apart. And so on that particular day, I just am. I just be what I need to be, and I usually go to the cemetery. My dad doesn't live in California anymore, but he's going to be here this time, so we'll go to the cemetery, and then we just stare at the wall. It's just I zone out. I'm very obsessed with time. Unfortunately, I know all of the minute by minute everything that happened leading up to and after Ron's murder and Nicole's murder. So I'm very obsessed with the clock, which is horrible, and I don't know how to turn that off. So I just settle in with a glass of wine and brace myself.
Well, you had to hear it so many times. I guess it plays in your head.
Yeah. And it's a couple days before I start to get a little anxiety ridden and then a couple days after because everything has been so well documented. And, the chase and the funerals and, all of the stuff that happened after Ron and Nicole were killed. It's so ingrained in me that I can't. So June just pretty much sucks.
Yes.
As a month, but it's just this is what we do. So,
Kim, can I ask you an odd question? Dorothy and I, of course, covered all of this from different perspectives and different places, and I like to think that Dorothy and I have gone through a journey ourselves, and we feel a lot of things, even though sometimes as journalists at that time you're not allowed to share those feelings. And I wonder, what do you think of a lot of the journalists who covered that at the time? Are there some that you just find totally despicable? Were there some that showed you humanity?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
We got stuck with everybody for 9 months, right? And it took me a long time to realize that the journalists that were with us in court every day were living it with us. And there were a handful that I became very close with, Cynthia McFadden, Dominic Dunn, Dan Abrams, Shireen Magami, they were my people, and I knew that they weren't supposed to be telling me things, and I knew they weren't supposed to share their emotions, but they became friends, they became family, we celebrated holidays together. It was a weird environment to be in, and I definitely remember people that were amazing to us, and reporters that were so kind and loving and are still in my life today. And then, of course, there were others that just didn't give a crap and were all about just getting the headline and getting the quote and didn't care if they were under the bathroom stalls or, eavesdropping or, I had people lie to get into my house.
Oh, God.
But,
and your bathroom stall? Ugh.
Yeah, in the bathrooms. We didn't have places that we could go to be away from the media. And
right.
we're on the hallway together And it's hard, but I now can take a step back and look and understand what that was about. I'm grateful to some extent that the media had so much to do with it, because it really pulled the buck on our system and on our case in particular. And, for example, we didn't have cameras in the courtroom. People wouldn't have been able to come up with their own conclusions. And, so it's got its good and its bad.
And you don't think that the cameras in the courtroom actually affected what was going on in the courtroom as far as the trial? That maybe that in itself was detrimental?
100%. However, being in the courtroom, I was there every day. I missed one day. And when I sat there and listened to testimony and, saw what witnesses were doing and saw what was going on, and then, and no disrespect to you guys, but then when you see the pundits and the news, anchors talk about what happened in court, and it was like a variation of what happened, I was frustrated, so people were able to watch gavel to gavel. They could see for themselves, and, they came, like I said, to their own conclusions. If we had to just listen to a couple of people talking at the end of the day about their summary of what happened and then the jury's verdict, people would think that he was literally not guilty.
Mm. And Kim, my husband covered the trial, and Kim never knew we were married.
I didn't.
Didn't you recently? You were like, "What the hell? You're married to David Goldstein?"
Yeah,
and she still talks to you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had a mustache then. That was a while ago. So is all this in? Here's the plug. Your new book, Media Circus. I'm assuming that all this is in there.
So yes, the Media Circus is a compilation of stories. So I went and interviewed 10 families from high-profile cases dating back to Charlie Manson and Sharon Tate to present, and I spoke to families that were thrust into the limelight and talked to them about what their experience has been with media and what it was like to live a private grief in the public eye. And it was amazing, and I was really very grateful that people were as honest with me. Some had great experiences with media, some not so much, and how comforting it was to some extent to have so many people watching, and then how isolating and paralyzing that process can be too. So it's really, there's nothing like it, and I don't want to compare our grief to anybody that doesn't have that, but it's just a different beast. Living your life in a fishbowl is hard, and it's also beautiful. So I wanted to be able to tell those stories and share those insights that we don't ever really hear about.
Can you share a little bit or one of your favorite stories or one of those moments that you had that will be in the book when the book is being released in September, by the way?
It is. Thank you. Oh geez, I think there was one. Here's what I realized. We did a Newtown, a family from Newtown tragedy, and we did another family that their daughter was killed by her two best friends, a Skylar niece, and we talked about the fact how different the media treats families that have child victims versus adult victims. And the families that had adult victims, it was like a feeding frenzy, and how disrespectful a majority of the media were. But when it came to the child victims, it was a totally different, loving, kind, compassionate, warm, welcoming environment. That was interesting to me, how quickly the media was to just run with stories that were not verified, how quickly the media competes with Twitter and Facebook and, the internet, that you don't verify stories the way that old school journalism did. We have to get everything up in 140 characters or less, regardless if it's the truth. A lot of families suffered in those situations. So we did a lot of that. I don't know that off the top of my head I can think of a specific story that I want to.
God, I'm thinking you went through all this before the world of TMZ, because Harvey Levin covered that. He sat next to my husband every day. I mean, he covered that trial every day.
And Harvey was great back in the day.
Well, Harvey is a real journalist. He just doesn't play one on TV all the time now.
Yeah. But I think, that's the one thing too, that I think that the internet has really changed, how people cover news today. I mean, I would imagine you guys see this too, that there's no more it's breaking news, but it's already on the internet before it ever gets anywhere else, and, I think that's the one thing too that has been so hard. I often think about how our case would have been handled had the internet been what it is today, or, we had more than 5 cable channels. That was when Court TV was just breaking onto the scene. It was just CNN then. It was.
Yeah, you created it in a way. This case created Court TV, and then this obsession with all of these major court cases, so much was played out in the media, and all of a sudden everyone had interest in the judicial system, although sadly not for the reasons of justice maybe, but for the salacious part of it.
Kim, what are your feelings now about O.J. Simpson? And I feel icky just even asking you that, but I know you had a moment when you wanted to run him over. Still feeling that way?
I saw him in a parking lot, and I was 99.9% sure it was him. But then it was that one little part. And I was like, oh, what if it's not? And but my feelings are, I am grateful that he is sitting in a jail cell in Lovelock, Nevada. Yeah. I wish it were for the crimes that he committed against my brother Nicole, but that didn't happen. And so, he's someone who, honestly, we quitted him.
Nicole, did we just lose you? Hold on a second. Okay, there you are. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? The signal was breaking up on the phone.
Oh,
Oh, shoot, Kim, we're losing you. And I know
Kim,
you want to get back to your kids' party, too.
But we really wanted to hear your thoughts on OJ, but we can't hear you. Did we just lose you?
Shows are still on, but she's not.
No.
I also want to talk to her about her charity, too, because my husband and I are doing
Maybe she'll call back.
Yeah, are doing an event with Kim in 2 weeks.
What are you doing?
I think, and I haven't even told David this, he would only do this for Kim Goldman. I think we're tasting cakes.
And how is that going to help children? That's all I want to know is how tasting cake's going to help.
Kim has a terrific foundation, and a lot of it is bringing joy and laughter back into the lives of kids. And this is okay.
Are you there?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I know she wants to go back to the party anyway. She probably hung up on us.
She hung up on you, Dorothy.
Oh, right.
Not me.
Not
I'm
you.
prepared for the interview.
But Kim, yes. If we can get you back, I would love to have you talk about the charity. If not, we'll talk about it maybe closer to the event.
So this is for which
2 weeks.
For which group? Because she's got so many different groups. She works for the Santa Clarita Valley Youth Project.
That's
is that
what
the
this
one?
is. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's some sort of like cake eating contest. And my husband hates carbs, so I haven't even told him that. But
I didn't know
would
he
do it
hated
for Kim.
carbs.
Well, he's on a diet.
Oh.
Which is why he's probably a little cranky. Kim, thank you so much. If we don't get you back, I could talk to her all day.
I know. I hope that she comes in and we could do like one of those one-on-ones
And
that we've
sit
been
down
talking
and
and just.
yeah.
Oh my God, Kim, are you back? Kim, are you back?
Yeah, sorry, I was calling.
No,
Oh,
hi you, and I know
we're
you want
so glad
I know
you're
you
back.
want to get back to your kids' party.
So
too.
two things. We want to hear your thoughts on OJ, and then we want to talk about the fundraiser you have coming up. So first, how are you feeling about OJ these days?
Well, I just, what, he's a murdering SOB, and I wish that he was in jail and on death row for what he did to my brother, but at least for a handful more years, he's going to be behind bars, and then we'll see what happens when he's, up for parole again. But it's just disgusting. He's a disgusting human.
And is there any sense of justice, the fact that he's in jail for another crime, never got convicted for their murders, yet he sits behind bars for his problem with his sports memorabilia and, breaking into a hotel room in Las Vegas.
Stealing his own crap back.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of comfort I feel with knowing that he's locked up. I mean, having him walk the same streets and drive the same freeways that I did for so long, it was anxiety provoking. I never knew where he was going to pop up, and he's less of a nuisance now that he's behind bars. But I don't know the life that he lives in there, and I've always been curious about that. I don't know if he's the mayor of the prison. I don't know if he's getting a ton of accolades. That part drives me crazy. But for right now, he's where he is, and of course I'm grateful for that, and I'm sure it's payback, and I'm totally okay with that.
I read a tabloid, and I know this isn't going to make you feel better, but that O.J. Simpson was someone's little bitch, and I thought to myself,
oh, I think that will make her feel better.
It's funny. My dad never reads that stuff, but that's the one that he called me. He's like, "Well, I just read." So you know what?
Right.
Trust me, when they said that he was diabetic, I was like, let's get our care package full of sugar and donuts and candy. Let's send it off to him. I mean, I'm okay with that. People think I'm a horrible person for having ill will and having those morose feelings towards somebody.
Who would think you are a horrible person for that?
Because,
you know what?
Listen, it's because there are people that believe that I walk around my life with with darkness in my heart and that I'm hateful and I'm spiteful and I just need to let it go and forgive and forget and I'm going to live a better life. I live a pretty dang good life considering what has happened, and I reserve the right to be incredibly angry towards one particular person, and it's contained. And I'm okay with that. I've done great work in my life to be healthy and happy and balanced, and I'm okay with that one little part reserved for him, and I think I'm entitled to that.
And you know that boyfriend you mentioned who was kind of saying don't be the victim. You're not. There's a difference between playing the victim and being a victim. You were victimized, and you have risen above.
You have.
Way above.
You have.
Thank you.
And with the
Thank
work you do, you work with troubled teens, and we know that you've got a fundraiser
Yeah, is my
coming
husband
up.
eating cake? Because I didn't tell him that part.
If you would like him to eat cake, yes.
So what's happening? Tell us what's coming up, because Dorothy's not sure, and I'm still trying to figure out how Dorothy and David Goldstein eating some cake could possibly help you and your charity, but okay.
Yeah, we do free counseling to teenagers that are dealing with depression and suicide and domestic violence and pregnancy and bullying and substance abuse and grief and loss. And I've been running it for 10 years.
Oh my God, we can't hear you. It sounds like you're at the bottom of the swimming
I know,
pool
but
with scuba gear on.
Oh,
Maybe
no,
that's
I'm
There
not
you are.
Oh, okay,
There you are. There you are. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was just saying I run this organization, the Youth Project, that does free counseling for teenagers who are dealing with depression and suicide and grief and loss and substance abuse and pregnancy and domestic violence. And I do support groups and one-on-one counseling. And I get to do these amazing fundraisers every year to raise money because it's free what I do. And Dorothy and David are going to come be guests at our event. We do it's a cake event. So I have all these people designing specialty cakes to describe their business, and you put them up for auction, and we judge them, and it's all for the Youth Project. So, Annie, you're welcome to come.
I would love that.
I'd love to have you. I'll send the information over.
I would love that. And what you just described sounds to me like a victor, not a victim.
Oh, thank you.
You've had me on the edge of tears through this whole thing, Kim. I have such respect for you.
Oh,
And we're
Thank
so
you, guys.
glad
I
that you,
appreciate
and
it.
we hope that maybe you could come in one day, because I'd love to be able to do this with you face to face, because I feel like we all lived your life a little bit, but from a different perspective. And I personally find a conversation like this so very healing, because you know, I've interviewed you, and I've interviewed you in live talkbacks with you and your dad, and I've been on the set, and it's just, but it's not quite the same as this environment where Dorothy and I have the opportunity to just really talk about what we want to.
Where she's in her car.
where you're in your car, and you know, we talk about real life.
yeah.
But take a selfie of you in the car, and then we'll feel like we were all in this together.
Oh, my God. I have not washed my hair in 2 days. I don't know.
I love you. I
But not
love you
today.
for saying that. I love you for being so real. That is so fantastic. Oh, Kim, I'll be thinking about you on the 12th.
Yeah.
And I'll be
Thank
saying
you,
a
guys.
prayer for your family.
Yeah. I'm going to have
And
a
thank
little
you.
glass of wine and a
and
prayer.
you know what? I just want to say, you know, that I really did mean it before when I say that we do have such respect for the media, and I know that you guys cover such hard stories, and you know, you guys are on the front end of it in a very different way than we are, and I do have such tremendous respect. The book that we're writing is not a slam. It's really just to bridge this relationship between media and victims and survivors, and I really am I know how hard the work is that you do too, and it does not go unnoticed. So.
Well, thank you, but we still love your title, Media Circus, and we agree with you.
I can't wait to read the book. It's brilliant.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mama, on graduation.
Thank you so much. Thanks, ladies. Bye-bye.
Hi, Kim.
Oh my gosh, really something, huh? I know. I mean, do you remember where you were when this murder? I remember I was visiting from San Francisco when I was on the beach when in Santa Monica when word got out that the murders had occurred, because you know at that time the news cycle was much slower.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we lived it in my household because my husband covered it. And the funny thing was, he did sit this far away from, I should have brought some of those pictures in, David with the mustache, from Harvey Levin, because they were at competing stations, but they sat right next to each other. So they're together, you know, for like, Kim's bachelor party, for like 10 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And then we would all go out to dinner and talk about it. So it was like a 14-hour OJ day every day.
Oh my God. I was still in San Francisco, and I actually was relocated down here for the preliminary hearing. So I was at the preliminary OJ camp and was living full-time in a hotel downtown, and all I did was go and sit there and cover the trial. But I was not, at that point, I wasn't able to be in the courtroom because, there weren't that many seats.
It was tiny. I went a couple of times because David was covering it. So it was tiny. It was like, it was twice the size of this room.
Right, and then there were hundreds and hundreds of reporters outside
yeah.
in this media city that was built, and you had a park so far away, and we had taken over several city blocks and parking lots where all the trucks were
and
to
I was
cover
thinking
this.
about Kim today, what she said. You're in the courthouse. She had nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm. Nowhere to hide.
Even
yeah,
in the bathroom, people were following her. There was no place for the families to just go and have a moment. It must have been relentless.
Yeah, I don't. How could she not have hate in her heart for whoever?
Yeah, she's a terrific girl, but I think she's owed that little
piece, bit of you're
ugliness.
Angry because it was, and she was also very. I don't know. It doesn't matter whether you were very young or very old. Someone was taken from you in the most brutal way, and you had to experience something in such a public manner. Something horrible was done to your brother.
Right, and every time you turned on the TV, there it was again.
And there's no way around it. And there's a part of me that feels badly that we were even talking to her about it today. The fact that the anniversary is coming up and that you are asking her to recall and share those feelings as they're starting to well. And I know that she did want to come on, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel that that's part of the difficult part, I think, of being a journalist or a reporter or anything like that. We kind of were in her space today, weren't we?
And like, okay, now I'll get upset again, picking at the scab a little bit. But, and I think Kim understands this. The thing that I said to her, and this is the least BS thing I will ever say in my life, I have such deep respect for people who have a platform and do good with it. And for me, it's a little bit of a scab because I feel like I had this morning TV show for 20 years, and every once in a while I mentioned...
You were a giant scab that show.
Yes, on Society. But every once in a while I mentioned like a charity I was working with, but I had a platform and I didn't do that much good with it. So when people do, look what she has done. Like you said, she has several charities.
Yeah, it's incredible the work that she does. But I think that's, when whether it's something bad that happens to you, there is healing in doing good. We've talked about that a lot, and that's, I think, why we do all of the work, the volunteer work that we do, because I know for me personally, I'm trying to purge a lot. I'm trying to purge a lot of the, that
news
stuff.
baggage.
Yeah, the evil news baggage stuff, the dirty stuff. I do want to purge that. But I also realize, you can't just pop into somebody's life, take their picture, do their story, benefit from it, go off, and then not have a connection to that person. Mm-hmm. There's something innately wrong with that.
And I've always felt a connection to Kim because of her just, rising above.
Absolutely. It's how you handle things.
Deborah.
Deborah's on the phone.
Hi, you.
Hi, girls. I'm listening to this, and I have to tell you.
Everybody's underwater today.
I know. We can barely hear you.
How's that? I'm in Omaha, calling from the baseball tournament that John and I are at with our youngest son, James, and I'm listening to you, and I'm drawn back to 20 years ago when this all happened. And I agree with what you said, Anna. You just jump into someone's life and take a little piece of it, and not that you mean to, but that's sort of what we do with the work, and try and tell our story from how we saw it and what we think, was going on, and then it just disappears, and it really has an effect on these people. She was terrific. I've talked to her quite a few times. I remember being there too at the house. I remember when he was on his chase. That was quite a day and quite a circus. Oh my God. What a great show you guys just had. That was wonderful.
So you're not watching your kid either.
Nobody's watching the children. The children are out there with baseball bats and very fast balls going by. Other kids are in swimming pools.
I am so exhausted. We just had 2 games that we were watching this morning already. We just finished up with the second one, and now we're just resting in the hotel. This will be my life the next few days. So
what is it? What are you doing out there? What are you doing out there?
I am. Well, he is part of I don't know what it's called, the Slump Buster. Kids from all around the country come and play in this tournament. He's a good baseball player, and he's coming with his team from, Southern California, and he's playing out here. So we came to watch him.
Hey, and I have a
So
cute
it's a
picture
lot of fun.
you.
It's really hot. I'm really excited because I'm in Omaha, but yet this morning I got to go to Iowa for the game.
Oh, nice.
So I was in 2 states already. I'm excited to see a cornfield.
Very cool.
So I know.
I have a picture of you with a bunch of girls pretending to be cowgirls at the Mending Kids event last weekend.
That was a great event, Dorothy. That was terrific. Nice venue. How much did you raise?
About $120,000.
That's good.
That's
That's a
pretty
lot
good
of money.
for an event, huh?
That's great.
Yeah, it was
for
a
one event.
It was a Paramount Ranch.
Nice. Congratulations.
And Deborah, I know the auction went on way too long, but thank you for sticking in there. So we were setting up stuff that day, and it was 104 degrees. So
Oh,
I thought
jeez.
this is going to be the suckiest event in the history of the world because we have it's beautiful out there. Paramount Ranch. If you've ever seen a Western, a TV show or a movie, they shot it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I
Did
didn't
they
know
do
that.
MASH? John, when we walked on there, John said, I think they might have done MASH over
No,
here.
you know what?
But I don't know. I know they did
MASH,
Quinn, right? Dr. Quinn?
Yeah, Dr. Quinn. MASH was at Malibu Creek State Park, which is not far from there. So same mountains. But so when we were setting stuff up, and I had like the hay bales and of course the wine, I was setting up the saloon, which I think is typecasting. It was 104 degrees,
All right, Miss Kitty.
and I almost called people and said, "Please do not come. It's 104 degrees." But the event was beautiful. By the time sunset came along, and Christine Devine was
a nice
there.
event.
Do we have Christine
And
in
I'll
her
tell
those
you-
Cute
boots
picture.
and her
And
fringe boots?
She's adorable. Very cute, Christine.
I'm
Devine.
sorry, Deborah. What were you saying?
Oh, please. She was adorable. Between her and
And the
Dorothy.
thigh-high
Next time I'm
boots.
showing up in something short, too. It's just not fair. I got to do it, even though it won't look the same, but I have to.
Christine with
But I'll
those
have to
fringy
tell you-
boots.
Yeah, she was amazing. But that heat was not so bad because it was dry. I mean, it's like 90 degrees here, but it's so humid here in Omaha. It feels like 115. It's
All
like,
right,
oh, my
well,
God.
Go put some deodorant on before the next game.
Omaha, but isn't that where Warren Buffett is? Do you and John have a meeting with Warren Buffett today? Isn't he in Omaha?
Oh, you knew. No, but actually, we're going to go by his house where he lives. So some of the people who were in the tournament last year said that they did that.
Oh,
It's
so
one of the
you're just
little
stalking.
excursions you do. You drive
Okay.
by Warren Buffett's house.
Okay.
I love that. Take
Um,
a picture. I'd love to
I will
see
take
you
pictures.
in
Where
front of Warren
Where
Buffett's
did I
house.
just see him? Oh, and he's got a cameo in the Entourage movie.
Oh, he does?
Oh,
Where,
I love
where did I
that.
just see him?
Oh,
Like I
love
just
that.
actually saw him. Harvey Levin also a cameo in the Entourage movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you like the movie? I haven't seen it.
You know what? I love the TV show. The movie's good. It's the TV
Have
show.
you girls?
It's like a long version of the TV show. But so for some people, I think a little disappointing because it's a long version of the TV show. But a lot of boobs. If you want to go see boobs,
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
I read somewhere that they were actual,
boobs.
I don't know, girls of the night who were in that movie, and not actresses, but the other.
Oh, really? That
they hired
they
hookers?
use
They
they
couldn't
use
find
hookers
enough?
to play hookers?
They couldn't find it. Oh, well.
Hookers to play hookers, not actresses, so it was very genuine.
So it was a fun shoot.
But
okay.
I read it. I don't know. I wasn't really there. I have no idea. So
She denies any
so there you
knowledge.
go.
Just spread it out there, media circus girl.
Too funny.
Anyway, so yeah, exactly. Adding on to the bandwagon of the media circuit. But nice show, girls. Good work. Nice,
What,
really nice
thank
job.
you for the
So,
review. All right, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, and good luck on the
we'll
games.
see you soon.
Yeah.
Who's here next week?
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm in Memphis for a family wedding. I'm going to Graceland.
Are you really going to Graceland?
I've already been, but I'm going to drag my son's ass there.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to Graceland, or do they do weddings there?
Well, the wedding is not at Graceland, I don't think, but it is
I
in
didn't
Memphis.
know. Like maybe they rented it out at night for like parties or something. I don't know.
No, I was there years ago with a TV crew, and it's actually a museum. And so when you're in there during the day, they have the little velvet ropes up, but they had them down because we were there at night and we were going to be shooting. And our director walked in and sat down on the couch, and I thought the curator would have a heart attack because it is a museum. You are not supposed to sit on Elvis's couch
Oh, my
or
God.
the throne, by the way, or the the throne where Elvis anyway.
Anyway,
Anyway.
that's
Well,
a
have
good note to
have
end
a good
on.
time. All right, love you, girls.
All right,
Bye,
bye, Deborah. What an eclectic show this has been.
I know, great to talk to Kim.
I know, I liked her.
Yeah.
She's a good gal. I think it's time to say goodbye. What do
Okay.
you think? All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.